Good morning, all, or happy lunchtime for my friends, my guests, and others of you living in the future. And welcome to Kal-bardr's Corner for this episode of Coffee with Cal. I am Baron Kal-bardr Gellir, Commanding the Meridian Cross, Commanding the Argent Comet, Commanding the Compostela, and Reaper, coming to you live from the Barony of the Osprey on the southern coast of Meridies. Now, before I introduce my guests, I have to introduce this fabulous freaking hat, because I frankly think it's its own guest. So this lovely hat that I have to actually lean back to get in camera, because good God, it's huge, was made by my guest today, and I love it. It is gigantic and amazing and awesome. All that being said. All right, so for this episode, we have a Trimerian 2-for-1 special. I'm joined by an absolute beast with a spear and a grace while slaying, Duchess Maisie of Dunbarton. And one of the many jocks that she has sponsored through her amazing program, the Honorable Lord Drust Thorrison. Good morning to you both.
Hello.
If you will, before we get started, let's give some introductions. Your Grace, tell us a little about you and who you are and why you're amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm Duchess Maisie. I have been in the society for over 30 years. I started fighting when I was 19. I still fight. I've reigned 3 times as queen. I'm a pelican, and I'm married to a duke who has had several knights come out of his household, as well as I have had pelicans come out of mine.
Excellent.
Raised it. Yeah.
And I'd say my credit to your spear work is I've seen it personally. I've been on that side. I'm not even joking. It's amazing. So. All of your work as queen and as a pelican is great, but also good God with the spear. Anywho, your lordship, please.
Yes, I've been in the SCA for about 11 years, and I started out fighting and doing archery, and then when I moved to Kaid for a while, and now I'm back in Trimaris. And when I moved back to Trimaris, I got more into service, and I've served as seneschal and web minister and marshal and all sorts of other things. So I'm having fun with lots of different aspects. Yeah, having a lot of fun.
Awesome. Welcome to you both. Thank you both for doing this today. I know it's. I'm looking forward to the topic today. I say that every week, but I always am. It's always. I enjoy having different guests on and getting to talk about different things and hearing different aspects of the SCA. I think this is one that I have a personal vested interest in, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. So before we dive into the topic, we have a very important thing to talk about, and that is our coffee. So today, I have to say, I've been in a bit of a coffee rut. It's been, pumpkin spice, cinnamon, dark, over and over again. So I went out to my favorite coffee vendor and ordered a new one. So I have German chocolate cake and just yum. Here's the thing. I have a baking background. Like I grew up as a pastry chef. That's what I started. My first career choice was. This is exactly what you expect it to be. Is if you put German chocolate cake in a cup, this is it. So anyways, yeah, German chocolate cake from Odyssey Coffee. And of course, out of my Feed the Ravens mug. Support your merchants. Links will be in the comments in a second. So what about you, Maisie? What are you drinking in your cup of silly over there?
It's just Diet Coke. I'm not a coffee drinker. Sorry.
It's okay. We still let you on. I'll just glare at you a little. Drust, what do you got?
Well, this might be a little controversial, but I've got a K cup.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
It is. It's an organic coffee from Beaniac, and it's the type of biodegradable K cup, with less plastic in it at least. And I'm drinking it out of my little cauldron mug that doesn't require a coaster since it's got little legs.
Ooh, I like that. That's fancy. I like that. Yeah, and no, we support coffee and drinks of all kinds on the show, so I will not disparage your choice of K-Cup, especially because it's not biodegradable. It's a good choice. There you go. All right. Now that is out of the way, let's dig into today's topic. And actually, hold on. I'm gonna de-hat because whereas I love that thing, it is giant and I can't see. So there we go. I've worn this silly hat. I love that thing so much. It's the best. All right. So let's dive into today's topic. This one, and I was talking with our guests before the show. They were unaware of some of the controversy that I have been aware of, and I think it's really interesting to me that This is something that started in Trimeris, so which for those who don't know, Trimeris is the Florida that's not the Panhandle. It's the rest of Florida. So our cousins to the east, and it started in Trimeris and is society wide. I think I was really surprised at some of the reach of the program. So this is the Society Adopt-a-Jock Program, something that both myself and Drust have been a part of, both by Maisie's hand actually. And it's something that I think is an amazing addition to society, but, and this is where I'm gonna talk about the controversy for a second. We'll just start there. It's something that people have misunderstood. So let's actually, Maisie, I'll let you introduce. So tell me about the Adopt-a-Jock program, what it is, why you started it, sort of where it's come from, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay, so I originally created it while I was queen, so that to build up our army as far as our presence on the field and being an army of blue, and to help those that didn't have the ability to sew, maybe to work out things in trade or meet people who wanted to be creative, and it would kind of help everybody get into some blue tabards, so we would look like we knew each other. Trimeris is a very household-oriented kingdom, but on a very good team. So that's how it started. And when other people found out about it, other people started joining the group from outside of the kingdom. I have a lot of friends in a lot of different kingdoms that were interested in watching what was going on with it as well, and they shared it. And I'm happy that it's crossed borders. And then when we went into lockdown, it was a really great outlet for a lot of people, especially people who are home alone, and SEAers have stockpiles of fabric, and creative outlets are always a really good way to kind of get away, because you get very into your art, and it kind of just lets you forget your things that are going on around. And I think it was a really great thing for people who were home alone, or just creative people. And with my background, with my husband's household, while I have tried to teach some of the squires to sew through the years, it doesn't always go great. I've always tried to make sure that they look good on the field, because I know that if you feel good on the field and look good on the field, you feel more confident on the field. I feel that that's a big thing. Just helping each other is a great thing. So it just kind of grew from, the beginning of just trying to make the army look like an army. Basically.
We had a comment. I'm gonna devolve for a second here. His Grace Ulrich, or I'm sorry, His Excellency Ulrich says, Maisie has a lot of friends. I'm stunned. Right. It's like you know a person or two, Your Grace. So the long and short of it, from a practical perspective, right? It is a program designed to help people who need, or even just want, better garb, or better fighting garb specifically. I think it's geared towards fighters, but fighters of all types, right? Because it adopted jock, so jock being fighters. People who need better garb, want better garb, with people who have time and have fabric, or just want to help, right? That's the short of it. So I know I've seen the time, because I've been in there, I think, since early pandemic. When you first sort of opened it up, I joined just because I join things my friends do to support their things. And I've seen people from literally, from Meridia's Trimeris that were in there first, and Atlantia grew, and then you've got people from like Oertha in there now, and like there's like Alaskan contingents of this program. Yeah. I'm like, how did that even happen, right? But it's that amazing, and it's one of the things that, especially with the mail the way it is now, there's really no borders, and teaching squires to sew, yeah. So I'm not a squire, and I'm terrible at sewing. So I've tried learning. I can embroider all day long, but you try to give me construction something, it's hot trash. So I appreciate people who help.
I always say to everyone, if we were all good at everything, we wouldn't need each other at all.
It's true. And I think that's about the SCA being the society that it is. It's the important part of that. It's the community building, right? That's the important part of the SCA, in my opinion. So, Drust, how did you find the program? Sort of, what was your background with it, and sort of give me your story.
Yeah, when I started the SCA, my first event I went to, I sewed my own tunic to go to my first event. So I know how to sew, and when I went to my first Gulf Wars, I sewed a whole bunch of war tunics for myself. That were just cobbled together from my own, like just fitting up fabric to my own body without taking measurements, really, that type of thing. But most recently, I've been guided to try to not necessarily upgrade my kit, but make my kit more period to my persona. And part of that was to hide my armor in my arm armor, because I'm a Pictish persona. And so I was wearing leather arms, but I was going to go to more streamlined hidden arms under the arms. And Maisie mentioned the program, and so I could have a tunic fit up that would fit my arm armor underneath it correctly, so it wouldn't bind. And so she worked with me to get the measurements right, not just for my body, but also for my body with the arm armor underneath it. Yeah, and so that's the beginning of my work with the program. And I've also helped push the program to a couple guys that started in my area and come to my practice, and they've been another success story out of the program, and then moving into the future, I hope myself. I've got sewing machines and sergers and stuff, so I'm hoping to up my game and become a contributor at some point as well. And I can sew a basic thing right now, but maybe Maisie or somebody will work with me so I can do something dramatic and awesome for somebody else sometime soon.
There you go. It's all about giving back, right?
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
So a month or so ago, we talked about the emotional labor thing, and that was a big thing about artisans being asked to do more and more, right? This is something that as another thing artisans can do. Let me be very clear: can do. Don't have to do. We talked about that a lot in that show. So when I saw the program pop up, I was like, "This is great!" Like, it's another way for people to look better on the field. Right? So I'm a fighter, but I'm definitely not a fighter first. I'm a fighter like third in my SCA career. I'm a herald. I'm a teacher, and I'm an artisan. And I hate saying that because it's weird because I don't feel like an artisan most days, but like I am, right? For me, like heraldic presence is important. Which is really weird coming from the Scythian persona sitting here, that heraldic presence is important, but it is. Because one of the things, and Maisie, you've said this before, looking better makes you feel better, which makes you fight better, right? Now, obviously, just because you get new garb doesn't mean you're going to win Crown List tomorrow. It's not in a direct correlation. It's not just going to like, oh, I got better all of a sudden, right? But it's really hard to feel good on the field if you're in a t-shirt and jeans. Like, it doesn't translate. So I think this program helps with that. So let's look. So from a practical perspective, right? So what's the process for the program, and then we'll get into some of the nitty gritty about the maybe the good and the bad. So how does one join? How does one do this?
Well, you just join the group. It is on approval because I want to make sure that everybody that is joining is part of our organization, or a organization like ours. And so there are blank forms in a folder in an album. There's four or five different albums that are in the group, and the blank forms you fill out, and then there's another album that is a to be adopted album, and you just throw your thing up there. And like with your persona, I was cruising through and I was like, well, I don't know anything about this persona. And it was very interesting to me. And so I found that, and that interested me. So I took all your measurement paper down and I wrote in adopted, and I moved you to the adopted folder. And
Time out. Hold on. That may be what happened, Maisie. But I think that happened much, much later. And there's a story we got to talk about first here. Let me just sidetrack us here. All right. So little old Cal joined this group early pandemic. And I was like, this is cool. Let me throw my form up here. And my form sat there. It's sat in the to be adopted folder for quite some time. Now, I don't actually mind. All right, people are pandemic, people are busy, and first of all, I'm a weirdly shaped individual, so I wouldn't want to sew for me because I have a 75-foot wingspan. I'm 6'5". There is nothing easy to sew for me, so I get that. And also, it's a Scythian persona, which like 6 people in the known world know about. Like, it is not easy. Like, if you're not a Shoxy and her people, you don't know how to do Scythian. It's just a thing. There's others, please. I don't know you, but don't be insulted. So the funny thing that I started doing is as Maisie would make posts in the group saying, hey, we've got fighters, or all the fighters are getting adopted, people getting adopted left and right. I'm like, well, Cal said. So I started posting Sarah McLachlan videos, and every time she'd make a post, it was the In the Arms of the Angels, sad puppy posts. I probably did it a dozen times just because I was being silly and funny.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you didn't just go cruising through and go, oh, this is interesting, but I'm pretty sure I hounded you enough.
But it was very interesting to me, and I'm sure that there are people that have adopted that want to go with something that is there, they specialize in it, and that's awesome. But I was intrigued because I had never made it or seen it, and it's really cool to do new things, especially after being in for 30 years and learn new things. And I think that's one of the things that keeps us going too. And with some of the fighters that have been adopted, it's really cool to see things and rejuvenating to see things through a new person's eyes.
Right.
As they're receiving their tabards or tunics or what have you. So, yeah.
It was really neat for me. So obviously, so you made me a full set. So I was expecting a tunic and some pants, a fancy tunic. You have no expectations, right? There is zero like guidelines on what gets made. On the form, it asks you for your basic persona information and do you want a kingdom specific or not, right? That's all that's given. So I said, okay, yeah, I want it kingdom specific. I want something Meridian-esque. And Scythian, and sort of gave some and said, hey, I'm available if you have questions. Because I was like, I don't know what to put on this other than just here's some generic Scythian. So outside of that, there's no expectations. I've seen people who've just done a tabard or just done sort of basic tunic style stuff. And then you, I think, are an overachiever, which I'm not. I think nobody here is surprised by. So I got a full tunic with like painted horses on the front, Meridians being horses, but like in the Scythian style, a pair of pants, an overwrap thing, and this fabulous freaking hat. So the girls told me I squealed like a dolphin when I opened the box, and they're probably correct. But yeah, so that's I was ecstatic, and I've been in the SCA for 5 or 6 years now, so it's like I'm not surprised by much, but I was surprised by what came out of that box. But I think that's a symbol of your excitement, right? So if it had been 14th century, English, you'd be like, "Yay, here's a tunic!" Like it's not exciting, but like because it was something different, it excited you to do more with it because you wanted to do more, and that's I think part of the thing driving the artisans to want to do more, right? When they want to, or giving them an outlet to do more that's different than their normal outlet.
Yeah, I don't need another dress in my closet, but I do love creating and then being able to send it away. Like I get to make things and then I don't have to store them. They go. I think that's a really good part of it too. And and like I said, the learning of new stuff is always interesting, and I mean that's kind of what the SCA is about too. I have a really great story, and I probably shared this. I shared it on the group, and I was in I fight heavy and rapier, and I was in a rapier tournament, and I was standing in line for a bear pit, and there was this guy in front of me, and I said, wow, I really like your tunic, because I'm all about the team spirit, and it was white, and it had triscales across the bottom, and I said, I love your tunic, it's so great, and he's like, well, thanks, I just moved to this kingdom, and I met this lovely lady on this Adopt-a-Jock program, and she lives near me, actually, and she made this for me. And I was like, oh, yay! I was like, I made that program! And then so I posted about it on the group, and he's like, "It's me. I'm that guy." Like, he put up, so instant friends, and they made friends, and he was new to the kingdom, and I think that like you said, there's people in Alaska, and you know, and they're friends, you know, and another thing about the way that it works out is there's a lot of people that can afford to go, you know, buy off the shelf garb, right? But it may not be with their arms on it, or may not have a personal touch to it, or they want something specific that's going to match to something, color, whatever. And this is a great way for that to happen for them, as well as, like I said, the new people who, you know, are ecstatic just to get you know, something that fits them.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, I think that fit is an important part. Again, as I mentioned, 6'5", 75-foot wingspan here. Fit is a weird thing for a lot of people, and especially if people that are the SCA is an odd collection of folks with odd sizing. You know, if you just go to medievalgarb.com, they're not going to have folks stuff to fit in the majority of us. See you laughing at Drust.
Yeah.
I make up websites a lot. That's the thing I do here, but I'm sure medievalgarb.com probably exists.
Yeah.
So the program itself is literally you know, as a adoptee or as a jock, I guess. You go in, you fill out the form, you put it in the folder. That's it. Drust, if you look those forms real quick, I want to show off the forms and go through the 4 of them.
Here they are.
So we showed. So this is the female one, and if you could scroll in just a little, only just so you can see the detail on it, what all's in there. See if it'll let you scroll. If not, it's okay. There are links in the chat for this as well. So at least to the group. There we go.
There you
go. So basic information at the top, some of your persona stuff there, and then measurements to the left. Now the measurements, in my opinion, is the hardest part, especially if you're alone. A lot of those are going to be tough to get, so you will need a friend to help you with some of this. But it shows you what things to measure, and that's really cool. Flip over. So you have female, you have male. I'm going to flip over to the next one. There we go. So there's the male version. Again, same form, some different measurements, I think, on this one. So, because again, looking at body shapes a little different. And that's, you know, this is male, female based on body shape. And there's also a non-binary as well. Looks like we just lost Maisie. She'll rejoin in a minute. And a non-binary, if that makes you more comfortable. Frankly, in my opinion, I think this is use the form that makes the most sense or has the most correct measurements for you. If your body shape is one of the ones that has problems in certain areas, like I know I have problems in certain areas, I actually looked at the female form and I was looking at this to see if I needed to use a different form because of body shape. And there's also a kids form because kids are jocks too. Kids can fight and kids should look better on the field. So there you go. So excellent. Thank you for sharing those, Drust. So the forms are super easy to fill out from a jock perspective. And you and I will talk about being jocks for a second while Maisie figures out what's going on with her computer there.
Yeah, I was going to mention a nice tool for this. If you don't do any sewing, you can go to any store pretty much and get yourself a little sewing tape measure. That'll save you a lot of heartache trying to use a regular tape measure to measure yourself. Yeah.
Don't try to use one of the carpenter's tape. That would be terrible. Like it will work, but you'll get inaccurate measurements.
But another trick, if you don't want to buy the $2 measuring tape, there is to take a piece of string and then a non-stretchy piece of string and then measure that out on a yardstick. After the fact.
Yeah. Drust, tell us a little bit about. So I talked about what I got from Maisie. What is your amazing garb you got?
We were talking about our heraldry, and so she made 2 different tunics for me with long sleeves to go with my new hidden armor. And the first one was along the lines of her original desires for the program, and she made me a nice blue tunic with hand painted triskells along the bottom and triskel trim along the edges to represent Trimaris as we went out and went to wars and stuff like that. And then also my device in the SCA comes from a tattoo I had before I started the SCA, and she went all out and she actually made I've got this tattoo sleeve that's just a bunch of lines and with the
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she made a tunic for me with that on the sleeve of the tunic.
So to like match your tattoo, that's cool.
Yeah, and I got that passed as my heraldry as well.
I think that's the neat part of it. So you had both a kingdom specific thing, but also something that was persona specific, or even just you specific at that point.
Yep.
And that's I think what the cool things about from an artisan perspective is it encourages those artisans to. There's your Grace. Welcome back, Maisie. It encourages those artisans to sort of reach out and try new things. I think that's a really neat thing. And as an artisan myself, and again, it's weird for me to say that, but I've entered artisan thing, so I can say that now. I actually enjoy doing like challenges. So when they're like, we're gonna have a fair and it's this theme or do this challenge for this category, I'm like, I prefer doing that sort of thing than to just like my own A&S stuff. Like I have a block printing project, like a paper printing project I'm working on that was for a gift exchange. That's what it started from, because I was like, this person's Tang Dynasty, I need a thing for them. I'm gonna do a block printing thing. I've never done block print, never cared about it. I have zero interest in it actually as a project, but I got interested because of that challenge, right? So I think that's a really cool thing about it. All right, so we've had, first of all, a couple things. Maisie, you are inspiring, according to Remote. There you go. So comments from Artemisia there. And program is amazing and made by an incredible human and SCA member. So there you go. You're going to get a lot of those today. Just be ready for just keep blushing. We did have a question come in from Elfric from South Downs. What is your definition of jock? So, Maisie, I'll let you handle that one. We can't hear you. Technical problems. Nope. Go ahead and just refresh your browser and come right back. All right, so I'll field that, and if Maisie can correct me if I'm wrong. Realistically, jock is anything that fights. And Elfric, because I know what you do, I'm going to use fight here in a bit of a quote. Let's see. You back with us, Maisie? I still can't hear you. We don't. Mics are important. Hold on. All right, Maisie, go into your cam mic settings at the bottom and make sure the right mic is selected. Check that. That's where it's going to be a thing. All right. So yeah. So I think jock in this case is anything that fights. Nope. Still nothing. So heavy fighting, rattan fighting in this case, rapier fighting, or archery, both combat archers and off-the-field archers and live weapons. I think all of that would apply. It's about getting people. I heard me.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. But I also hear me. Hold on.
How about now?
I hear you. Still hear me. All right. So for those watching, this is how SCA YouTube shows work, because we don't know what we're doing, and we have guests who have questionable technology. So it happens. Let me we'll get this sorted out.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Can you? I'm gonna mute you for a second. Can you turn your volume down? Like not your mic volume. Turn your external volume down, so maybe it doesn't go back through. Try that.
How about that?
I don't know. Yes. Excellent. Okay.
Woo.
Ignore all that happened. Nobody saw anything.
Sorry.
Let me get everybody back in the right spots here. There we go. Okay. So Maisie, what I was saying was that for you, that jock is anything that is a fighter, rattan, rapier, live weapons, martial things, right?
An athlete of any kind.
And honestly, I'll say this: I would think if there is some artisan out there that really that is like an artisan that's not sewing, that has that wants better garb, so when they go to an A&S fair to present, they need better garb. I would argue that nobody would tell them no. Right. So there you go. Jock is anything you need it to be. If you feel like you need better garb and you fit the criteria, please come join the group. there are a ton of people out there that want to help, and a ton of people out there that need help. Let's put them together. Let's make those connections.
I'm going to be also adding to the group a form for people who love to make banners and someone who is in a banner. So that could be another, because heraldry is fantastic. And, some people really, really endeavor and really love making banners, but how many banners do they need in their own arms? But that's their creative outlet. So I'm going to be creating a very similar measurement type of a form, but not measurement, just more like when you turn in your heraldry with a place for you to put that, and then where you live and what kingdom you're from, and if you want a kingdom thing or if you want a personal thing, or so.
Well, and I even make sure you have persona stuff on there too, right? Because heraldry for a Norse persona versus an English persona is different display, right? That's something I'm still trying to figure out from a Scythian perspective, is what the frig does that look like for me? Because we don't know. They didn't have that. Extra European stuff is hard. But it's something I think you can adapt that, right? And I think that's another cool thing from a challenge perspective, is adapting those to fit the persona style so that we all feel better about it. And heraldry is another way to do that. There you go. You've got a volunteer to do banners already, so there you go. So yeah, I think join, do what you can. There was a question earlier. I'm going to scroll back for it while we were fixing that. There you go. Yeah, while we're fixing things. So what if I don't have the skill to make a whole outfit? What if I can make a tabard and some trim, but trash at constructing garb? So there you go. So there you go.
When it started, it's really up to the individual. Basically, the program is for fighting tabards, and that's how it originated. So, there's no rules to it. Like I said, with your persona, I was just so interested in all the things I had never made, and the fact that your pants are as tall as my whole body.
I'm all leg. I am all leg. I have like this much torso, this much leg. It's ridiculous.
So, but the original purpose is a fighting tabard, or something heraldic to wear on the field, basically.
Yeah, so we had and I think Anne pointed out this. There is every one of the forms has what they're looking for, and some of them just need tabards. Right. So if you have people that are maybe, like, I've seen a couple of knights that have joined that have amazing garb, but don't have a fighting tabard for that one wartime they need.
Right. And so can I say something about Anne? My goodness, she is one of the stars of this program. She has made so many people so happy, so many smiles. She has made beautiful things, from tabards to full outfits with, heraldry on them. I wish there was a way we could show the album of what they've received and their smiles and how happy they are, because it is and Anne's been a really great supporter of a lot of people in the SEA, and I hope that she's made a lot of new friends with it as well. She's from the mid-round, is that right? I believe.
Sure, of course. And tell us where you're from in the comments, and we'll make sure we put that out. She did say, and I think this is really funny. I appreciate this. That she joined initially because she likes clearing out backlogs.
That's wonderful too.
I love it. That's as a project manager, I love that mentality. Drust, I see you pulling up pictures. I'll let you do that. I'll give you a second.
Mistress Aspasia Moonwind has also been a really big contributor as well, and she is someone. She has been, as long as I can remember. She's Laurel, and she's been in the SCA forever, and she's at home, and she's having a lot of more problems. Mistress Aspasia made that. Having a lot more problems getting to events, but she still just loves crafting. So this has really been a great way for her to share as well. So that's a video of me.
I was like, that's Maisie sewing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is just some examples of some of the stuff people have made here, and I'm amazed by some of the talent that's been in there, and the variety of stuff that I've seen come out of it. So the first picture that you had up there was actually Cole from Ortha. So it was kind of cool that was the first one we found. So yeah, I think this is, for me, is an amazing program, and I've enjoyed as a spectator just watching. I'm not a sewer. I might make some tabards one day, because I probably could knock out some tabards. and I've actually been looking for ways to support it as a non-sewer. But that's
Well, this is very supportive. I appreciate it.
right. And so I was like, I can have them on for a show. That's what I can do. And it's important to do that because it's important to encourage that. Now, I want to talk about the negative side. Right, let's do that because I think part of the show. And I warned you about this at a time, so I'm not dropping this on the last minute here. Part of this show and the purpose of this channel for me has been having real conversations about problems in the SCA. We've talked about this, the missing stairs and the squeaky steps and all the this and that and the racists and the fascists and the bigots, and we've discussed those things on the show because I want to talk about them more, not because they're good things, but because we need to address them. So this program for me and things I've seen here in Meridies and some other spots around. I say Meridies because that's the community I'm part of. I'm not calling my kingdom out here. But we've seen oh, great, here's another thing that they expect the artists to do, another thing they expect the seamstress to do. And I've heard even over the years, right? So as a fighter, we often get criticized as, well, the fighters show up to fight and we, the artisans and the laurels, or the artisans and the pelicans and the laurels do everything else, right? The fighters only fight, which is not completely wrong. I'll call my brethren out here, not completely wrong. But also there are a ton of fighters that are also pelicans and also supporters and also kingdom seneschals, or I see you out there, that have supported this society. But often we hear about the stuff the artisans do to support the fighters, and not the other way around. So when this came up and sort of grew out, that was the initial response I saw was, oh great, here's another thing, right? And I know you said you had not seen a lot of that, which I appreciate that you haven't seen a lot of that. But what are your thoughts on that?
Mine or Drust's?
Whoever wants to field it first, go ahead.
Well, I feel that there's no one forcing anyone to do this program. There's no one forcing anybody to join this program. If someone's feeling pressure about their art, that's an individual feeling, and they probably should deal with that with the people who are pressuring them, or the reason they feel guilt within. No one's making anyone join this program, and and I can't understand why anyone would not want to be a good steward of the society in any way, or if you see somebody doing something, and it's not really affecting you, then what does it matter?
Right.
No one's being forced to do anything here, and it seems like everybody's really enjoying it who is volunteering to want to be on the program and to do things. Happy smiles everywhere for people who are receiving. I had a great time creating and doing something new. It's kind of got a thing a little bit for everybody, but if it's not for you, that's fine too. There's things I don't want to do in the society, and I've never had the urge or inclination or want to do them. And no one steals my fun. No one's going to make me do it. So.
Yeah, I think the going back to the emotional labor thing, it's hard to look at that because it almost things like this, whether it's the Adopt-a-Jock program or creating largesse for the kingdom or regalia for this or that or sewing for the crown or whatever, right? It almost feels like it becomes an expectation. And that's really the thing we need to address in our society as a whole is making sure that that's not expected and that we judge, and I mean the laurels, the pelicans, the knights, whoever's being judged, whoever's doing the judging, we judge those people based on them and not compared to others, right? So just because Susie Q did 1,000 garb things and a whole bunch of regalia and all this, that's great. What did this person do, right? Yes, there's some sort of equivalency. There's some sort of like bar to set for becoming a peer or whatever, right? There's always going to be that bar, and that bar is going to go up over time as we all get better at what we do. But I think this program and others like it shouldn't denigrate that. It shouldn't, just because I don't sew for that doesn't mean I'm not doing other things for the society, right? It's not. Should be a comparison.
Right.
So Ulrich said something, and I think this is a great thing here. Maisie creates opportunities to showcase your abilities. So this is an opportunity to showcase your abilities, Whether you choose to take advantage of that or not is up to you, right? So it's another outlet to showcase your ability. It's not the only one, and it's not a requirement.
Right.
Right. Drust, do you have any thoughts you want to throw in there?
Oh yeah, well, just about what you said earlier. Not all work in the SCA is going to be visible. You know, if you're a web minister, you can put in hours doing that stuff behind the scenes. And when you're at an event and you're tired and you're not able to get up and help tear down the pavilion at the end of the event, but you spent 8 hours that week working on the Kingdom website, you know, you're still contributing, but it's not as visible. So, but this is kind of like taking a gift exchange and it's taking it to the next level where you're just excited about giving something and knowing all you'll get back is a thank you and maybe a picture on the post-it.
Right. But and actually, and on that note too, I want to I just talk about that a little bit. So the program itself is about making connections. There's my cat butt. Enjoy the cat butt. This cat, let me just sideline. This cat will sit here and lay in her bed. Her bed is on my desk, by the way, for hours at a time. She will never move. The minute I start talking to this camera, she's like, "Oh, I need to walk back and forth now. Thanks, Dad." Like she was laying on my hat over here a minute ago. She was like, "Oh, this is a much better bed over here where the hat is. That's where I need to live." So, anyways, so the program itself is about making connections. There are no rules. There are no rules about what has to get made, what can get made, what the persona, or that it has to be free, right? So if you as an artisan maybe have the sewing time but don't have the fabric to do it with, you're allowed to talk to your adoptee and be like, "Hey, I will sew this for at cost, but you have to provide the fabric, or I'll do it for this price." Right? It can be an arrangement for people who just want to make it for maybe less expensive or even at cost. Worst case, they say no. Right? That's it. So anything to add to that, Maisie?
Just the agreements are between, you know, the jock and the stitcher, you know, whatever they come to. And, you know, I've had some stitchers private message me and ask me, you know, how it works. And if, you know, if they can charge, I said, yeah, ask, you know, you don't know, ask. And if you want fabric mailed, because I know there's several things that have been made for me where I've provided these materials because I didn't know how to do it, but here's the stuff. If you could do this, that'd be great, you know. Or I've also purchased, you know, several things in the SEA, things I can't do from artisans. So I think it's just whatever relationship comes up. And if I haven't seen any hard feelings, so if it didn't, you know, if someone didn't have money to pay for it and someone else wanted to be paid for it, they can also go and find a different jock, you know, because there's a whole folder full of different ones to be up, and they can also have more, since they didn't get adopted, there's more opportunities for other people to approach them about making things for them. So yeah, I think it just kind of ebbs and flows, you know. So.
All right. I think it goes back to the connection. It's about making the connections, and then whatever comes of that comes of that. Because I know it's weird because it's called Adopt-a-Jock, right? It then seems like the stitcher is paying for all the things. That when you adopt a thing, the person adopting pays the fee. Like if you adopted pets or children, it's expensive, right? So I think that's maybe a misnomer in the naming, but it's such a clever name that like you can't change it. Like, it's just a good name. So I think if you're interested in sewing or in being adopted, understand that that's what this is about, and it's about those connections. Please, I posted the links in both chats. If you're on YouTube and those links didn't come through, go to Facebook, Kal-bardr's Corner on Facebook, and the links are out there as well. Sometimes YouTube eats the links, so I can't fix that because YouTube hates me, apparently. But there you go. I'm going to bring this up from Anne real quick. Personally, for me, this is my only way to contribute to the SCA. I'm unable to fight anymore. I find making items for people far more satisfying than sitting on the side and not contributing. There you go. So somebody who didn't have to do it, has contributed to the SCA, I'm sure, 100 times over, but wants to do something. This gave her an outlet for that. There you go. All right. Any other fun stories, Maisie? So you talked about the one tunic you ran into. Any other fun stories you want to tell?
It was really great. That I can think of offhand, I don't know. Drust may have some with some of the newer people he's been with as well. I think some of the things that are on the forums are pretty. It's like when a student turns in their homework, some of the little notes that are written are really, really fun and cute. And like I do ask on the forum if it's going to be a kingdom specific war tunic kind of thing, or if it's going to be your own like personal colors or arms, or if not arms necessarily, but just what are your favorite colors? And there is a question on there: what colors do you hate? And the answers are pretty interesting, and they're not always basic. Like some of them are like plaid, and I'm like, well, that's not really a color, but that works, So,
but you knew what they mean, so it helps.
Yeah, but I think it's really some of the answers on the forums are really great, or some of the descriptions of their measurements that I don't know. It's just they're just fun.
Yeah, I was going to mention that in a lot of cases, in my case, sometimes you don't know what you need. I thought my kit looked just fine, and I got compliments on it from time to time and that type of thing. But then after I started wearing the tunics that Maisie made me, I started getting all sorts of compliments, and then I realized the difference in level of the craft work that was in the tunics versus what I had been wearing before. So sometimes you don't even know what you need.
Well, and that goes with the Adopt-a-Jock. As my husband's squires were coming up, there's lots of things that you can teach and learn that aren't just this stuff in adopting a jock. There's a lot of things. I love new people. I love seeing things through new people's eyes. I just had someone come up to me yesterday and ask me what the proper form of dress is for a countess or a duke. I mean, that's still, you're still fostering and helping. So, that kind of falls under adopt. And I would try to make them the squires of his and other households that may not have a head of the house or a stitcher in the house or things like that. Try to help those guys or those fighters, not guys, but fighters that you see in many ways. Teaching them the sumptuary laws, teaching them just anything about the society is going to help people be better SCAers. So I think that's
I know His Majesty Sean talked about it on our show we did about what makes a knight, and all those things are knightly virtues. These are it's not all about the stick work, not all about the looking fancy. It's about being part of the SCA. This is just another avenue to be a part of the society. So, all right, I want to show. I was going to do a little technical thing real fast. I'll show the group. So here's the actual group. So when you join the group and get approved, to make sure you fill out the questions. If you don't see the questions, go back and look at it because that's important. But here's what you'll see. So obviously you can scroll through here and see all the amazing discussion stuff. And speaking of Anne and some buttonholes. Good God, at the buttonholes, man. Those are nice.
I know.
Like I'm just. Here's the so I sew and have sewn just enough to know how hard that is. Like I get it. So, anyways, so at the top here you see the little tabs. One of them says media. That is where the pictures are. So you can go over to the pictures. Obviously, you can scroll through all the pictures, but albums is the important one you're looking for here. Third one on the right. This is where all the blank forms are, and the actual fighter adoption forms go. So you see female fighters, youth fighters, non-binary, and male fighters, all up for adoption there.
There's also a place where we share patterns as well, and that helps kind of, if you can pull that pattern up, it's very basic. We share patterns and ways to, you may not have a resource to even find, something like that. Join the group as a newer person, or
I recognize those pants. Those aren't those the Thorsberg?
I think so.
It looks like, yeah. And so my wife's working on a set of those currently, so I was like, I recognize the footies on those. And there you go. So it's just some basic instruction stuff. And honestly, if you're a newer sewer and want to do stuff but don't know how, there's 1,000 people in here that I'm sure would be willing to give coaching and help with that. So go in there and ask and say, hey, I want to adopt a person, but I don't know how to make this thing. I'm sure people like Maisie and Ann and others would gladly help you. So there you go. So awesome. Let's see. Hold on. We have some other comments here, and whenever I see, okay, there's not many people I pay attention to in the comments. Like I see comments, and if I have people like Anne now, like I'm watching Anne's name because she's in the conversation. But when I see Ulrich say something, I always look for it. I don't know why, but I do, because it's always something like super profound. So let's see what Ulrich's got to say. If someone has an expectation of you as an associate who is someone other than your peer, then that is a discussion you should have with your peer about expectations. I like that. So yeah. And that's, I think, honestly, in general, if somebody has an expectation of you as a person, as an associate, as a peer, it's a conversation you should have, because I think that's a two-way street, right? If you have an expectation of me, I need to know about it. And so I can either live up to the expectation or tell you to pack sand. You know, there's two options there, or maybe there's somewhere in between. But so thank you for that, Ulrich. All right. Oh, so apparently Song saw her.
Have Song maybe say something about her experience, and if we could, I wish we could find her. Hers is gorgeous. It was made by Wendy. She's a Meridian Laurel.
Oh yeah, Winneman. Sure.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, there's Song. Hold on, I got Songs.
Yeah.
Who I've seen this tunic in person, because that's at MGT. There you go. Yes, so that's block printed and just gorgeous. And as Song mentioned earlier, she is like 5 foot nothing, and her shoulders are about that wide. She is built, and she's a weightlifter and a bodybuilder. So, like, there's a whole lot of muscle to fit in that tunic. So, again, a hard construction, but amazingly well done. There you go. And yeah, so those out there watching, obviously you're not all here to tell your stories. I'm going to put this request out. If you're still watching and have been either a sewer or a jock in this program, please send me your stories. Message them either to me on Facebook or to the page Kal-bardr Corner, and let me know those. And I'll actually do a little compilation post and put it up on the page, because I think, one, I want to see them just so I can squee at them, but also I want to see more of the positivity coming out of this program, because I've seen it, but I know not everyone else has. So I would love to see more of that. There you go. So, all right, let me do a couple of show plugs, and then we'll do some final thoughts. So everybody hang tight for a second. All right, coming up next on Kal-bardr's Corner, actually coming up tonight on Kal-bardr's Corner, we had to reschedule our episode 6 for Road to Retention, but we will be joined tonight by Lady Safia and Her Excellency Ramut to talk about social media and its impact on retention. So that's going to be a good one. Safia is an amazing person. I met her and Ian when I was out in Artemisia, and just two great people. So I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say about social media as someone who does social media for my hobby. So look forward to that tonight, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, or Central Daylight Time now, I guess. And then next Sunday, returning to Kal-bardr's Corner, Her Grace, Sir Helga. She made a post a couple weeks ago about sort of just being yourself and living your best life, and sort of not hiding who you are, but also adjusting who you are as need arises. And it really struck home with me, and I've missed Helga, so I'm happy to have her back on. So tune in for that. That'll be next, 2 Sundays from now. I do these out of order. 2 Sundays from now for the next Coffee with Cal. And bring your questions, sit in for that. Helga always brings some thinky thoughts for me and tries to blow my brain in an hour, and she does a damn good job of it. So check that out, the next Coffee with Cal. And next Sunday, for our actual 7th episode of Road to Retention, we have a Meridian special. Duchess Ismay, from Meridies, our former queen, and now patent pending. She was recently announced to be elevated to the Pelican. So she'll be joining us. Ismay's done a lot of work with the Welcome Home thing here in Meridies, and so helping for newcomers, but also taking those newcomers and turning them into long-term SCA people. SCA members, right? So I think that's a important thing we've always, that sort of midpoint we've talked about a lot. Ismay's done a lot of work with that, her and Dala both. So tune in for that. Bring your questions. And we'll see her next Sunday. As always, if you want to support Kal-bardr's Corner, everything we're doing here with KK Production, look us up on Patreon, patreon.com/KK Productions, and join the grand wall of patrons. We just sent out the third quarter awards here recently, so those patrons should all have their awards in hand. And we've added a couple new ones to the board. Isgarth from Artemisia will also be joining the show or the channel soon as a host. Her and Jermaine are going to be starting a show in January about youth and youth in the SCA. So looking forward to helping them get that going. And if you don't want to do that, you can look us up on Redbubble, search KK Productions, and buy some stickers or shirts or really ridiculous sheets. Or if you're feeling extra silly, look me up on TikTok at Kal-bardr. All right, that's all the things. Also, don't forget Feed the Ravens and Odyssey Coffee. Both those links are in the chat and comments. Whew, that's a lot of words. So, all right. For me, I'll sum this up and then I'll let our guests do this. I think this is all about, and I've said this 100 times, I'll say it again, it's about making connections, right? The SCA is about community and making connections and showcasing what we all do and just providing those avenues, right? This show for me was me providing an avenue for others to talk about their things, whether they be peer or non-peer. I think that's important for me. This program is another one of those. Maisie, sum this up in a sentence or less for me.
Oh my goodness. Be excellent to one another.
It's be excellent to one another. There you go. There was the theme of our last Rain Hymn Meridians was just be excellent to each other.
Yeah. Be kind. Be caring.
Drust,
what about you? Give me a sum up.
This is a great opportunity to challenge yourself as an artisan and take it up a notch and help the jock figure out an outfit that works for their persona and get them up a level.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to add too is if you can share with your friends, invite your friends to the group. If you're on the group, join the group. I really appreciate. I'd like to make it grow as large as we can and have many people on there. I also want to invite everybody to Panhandle Skirmishes.
Oh yeah. In
January. It is an event that's near and dear to my heart. It was an event that I created during my first reign. It's a skirmish between Meridians and Chimeras.
That is January 14th and 15th, or that weekend. And yeah, I love Panhandle. It is watch out. They haven't opened up registration yet, but it's coming. It should be in the next couple weeks here. So pay attention to that and register soon and register often. All right. Well, folks, that is an empty cup, and I'm happy for it. I'm going to go refill it here when we're done. Thank you, Maisie and Drust, both for doing this. Thank you for the program and just sort of for being amazing people in the SCA. And all of you watching, thank you for joining in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for asking questions and commenting. This show would not be the same thing without you guys. It's why I do these live, because I enjoy that interaction. As always, we appreciate you tuning in and hope you tune in next week or tonight, next week, and every other week. But for now, this has been Maisie, Drust, and Kal in Kal-bardr's Corner. Have a good day, everybody.